All right. Hey there, everybody. Happy Wednesday. All right. Listen, here's the deal. When I went through just recently and I checked all the work from yesterday, you guys that did the homework absolutely killed it. I'm telling you, it was amazing. Well, here, I'll just show you. Tip from yesterday, number one is check out the amazing work. Because holy cow, guys, like I put the first two that I found that were awesome and amazing work, which by the way, oops, amazing work came from, this was Lauren Anderson. Hers was so good. And then Nicole Klon, using some Easter themed pastel colors, also so flipping good. But then I like came across a bunch more that were also so good that I wanted to use those. Like you guys that did this homework yesterday were great. So if you struggled, there are a few people that struggled, or if you haven't tried it yet, go check those out as an example of how to do this really well. Second thing that I noticed is using the knowns unknowns chart helps. So the people that I saw use that knowns and unknowns chart, they had a really easy time of picking out whether it was sine, cosine, or tangent. People that struggled and got stuck, I didn't see them identifying knowns and unknowns. So make sure that you're doing that. Okay, so let's move on to new stuff. New stuff. It's actually not anything new. It's just a different way of looking at a problem. This is a word problem now. Objective 3 in the PFA is all word problems. So before we even get started, I'm going to do what we do at the beginning of all of these, and I'm going to write out my relationships. So, ka, toa. You guys certainly don't have to do this, but I'm just going to keep doing it. I'm going to write all the equations out. So I know that sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent theta equals opposite over adjacent. We also have the inverse equations. Inverse sine of O over H equals theta. Inverse cosine of A over H equals theta. Inverse tangent of O over A equals theta. You're going to use one of those in this problem, I guarantee. All right, so there are my relationships and equations. Now, when you have a word problem, there's a new first step. So remember, like the old first step was identify theta. The new first step is draw a diagram. You gotta have a diagram if there's not one in there. So here, let's read through this. During the afternoon, an 18-foot tall tree. Let's draw it. Oh man, you guys are going to get some amazing McSparran art skills. Trunk, tree, and that is 18 feet tall. All right, it casts a shadow. So look, I'm going to imagine a sun. It's a happy sun. It casts a shadow with its rays, and that shadow is on the ground. It looks kind of like that, but it's a shadow, so we got to fill it in. God, maybe I should have been an art teacher, guys. That's good. And the shadow is 25 feet long. Now, what is the approximate angle of elevation from the end of the shadow to the top of the tree with respect to the ground? So what we need to recognize is that this just made, ready for it, a triangle. Awesome. Assuming this tree is standing straight up, it is a right triangle. Now, you guys can go ahead and let's see, I'll use blue. So once we draw that diagram, the next thing we need to do is identify theta, because that was like already our next step. Now in this one, it wants to know the angle of elevation from the end of the shadow to the top of the tree with respect to the ground. That's a little confusing. I'm just going to tell you, angle of elevation is that angle right there. So there's my theta. All right, step 3 after identify theta is label sides. So I'm going to go ahead and label my hypotenuse is always my long side. If I go across from theta, that's going to be my opposite side. And then attached to theta, that's going to be my adjacent side. All right, now, since I said that those of you that did the knowns and unknowns chart did such a good job, let's go ahead and do knowns and unknowns. Known, unknown. Is that confusing that that's a similar color? It's the same color as the other stuff. Do I need a new color? No, I can do orange again. Or blue. We'll do blue. All right, so I know my O is 18. I know that my A is 25. I don't know my hypotenuse. I don't know my theta. All right, so, and it asked me to find that angle of elevation, so I'm actually going to think about theta as x. So we'll call that x. And I can do this. I know that's 25, 18, that's 25. We can fill those things in, that's fine. So if I look and see, all right, I know O and A. I'm looking for theta. Well, let's go over here. O and A are both in tangent, and I'm trying to find my theta. So that means I'm going to use the inverse tangent. Now I'm going to tell you guys, on word problems, you will not always use inverses. You will not always use the regulars. You are going to have to decide which one you want to use. Remember this, my regular equations are good for finding sides. So if I'm trying to find my opposite or my adjacent or my hypotenuse, use that. The inverse is good for finding angles. Keep that in mind, people. All right, well, now that I've got my equation picked out, let's write it out and fill it in. Oops, all right, I want to make sure I leave room for my face. All right, so tangent inverse of O over A equals theta. Well, I know that my O is 18 feet, so I'm going to put it there. Tangent inverse of 18. I know that my adjacent is 25. So I'm going to put it there. I know that my theta is x. So I'm going to put it there. All right, now, guys, it is all calculator work from here. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator and do 18 divided by 25. Hello, calculator. 18 divided by 25 equals 0.72. Is this one really close to yesterday's? That's interesting. All right, so that is inverse tangent of 0.72 equals x. Now, remember, I can just leave that 0.72. Look, it's already on my calculator. Don't have to retype it. Just go trigonometry. Remember, make sure that you are set to degrees, DEG. Don't change that. I need my second button to find my inverse. And I was tangent, right? Tangent, 35.75. So 35.75 equals x, and whoosh, there it is, people. 35.8 is the answer. All right, Good luck. If you struggle, make sure that you send me and Mr. Hayden an email. We would love to help you guys out with these things if you're struggling. All right. Have a great Wednesday.